You ever have one of those days where you just know, in your bones, you're about to become the villain in someone else's story? That was me, the morning my bridge finally snapped, and it wasn't even the wildest part of what went down. I've lived in a lot of places in my life. Dusty camps in Kandahar, prefab shack in northern Alaska. Heck, I once slept on a floating barge in China. But nothing, and I mean nothing, ever felt like home the way my little ranch on the Oregon-California border does. 6 years back, I got it cheap, a busted-up old lumber mill that the world forgot, except for maybe a few bears and whatever birds thought they owned the trees. 40 acres of woods, Wild Creek, a rotten bridge that looked like it'd collapse if you breathed wrong. Naturally, I fell in love. That bridge was a piece of history, built back in the late 60s by some stubborn logger. By the time I showed up, she'd seen better days, but I wasn't about to let her rot away. So, I got obsessed, the way only someone who's fixed load-bearing systems in combat zones can get. Nights, weekends, any time it wasn't pouring or freezing, I'd be out there, steel bracing under the planks, tension rods, pressure-treated redwood, even a non-slip coating, and, just for fun, a hidden load sensor system I could check from my phone. Maybe a bit over the top, but after what I've seen, you don't build anything halfway. That bridge connected me to the county road, and on the other side of the creek, well, there it was, River Pine Bluffs, an HOA subdivision straight out of a magazine. New money, perfect lawns, matching mailboxes, more rules than an aircraft carrier. My land was legally grandfathered out, thank God, and I planned to keep it that way. At first, it was peaceful. A wave here, some kids chucking rocks into the water there, no big deal. But then River Pine started expanding. Word spread fast. They'd greenlit a dozen new homes at the far end, but the official access was this winding, 7-mile goat trail that'd make your grandma carsick just looking at it. I knew, right then, they'd try to shortcut through me. Didn't take long. A little delegation in polo shirts shows up at my door. The leader, a woman named Karen Delaney. Yeah, you guessed it, HOA president, does all the talking. Mr. Emery, we noticed your bridge connects almost directly to our road. We'd like temporary access for our construction vehicles during the build-out. I sipped my coffee and stared like she'd just asked to borrow my bathtub for a dog wash. Let me stop you right there, I told her. That bridge isn't certified for commercial use. It's private, farm vehicles only. It's my land, not yours, not county. Mine. Karen nodded like she got it, but I could tell she was just waiting to try again. She smiled too long and said, "Of course, just thought we'd ask." I figured that was that. Oh, was I wrong? 2 weeks later, I see deep tire tracks on the wood. Not pickups, something heavy, like a flatbed or small cement truck. There's plaster flakes on the railing, some fresh broken planks. My sensors had pinged, but I figured delivery truck. Now, not so much. That afternoon, I posted a warning. Private bridge, no commercial access. Trespassers will be recorded. I linked my sensors to my phone. Anything over 10,000 pounds, I'd get an alert. I wasn't looking for trouble, but I also wasn't about to watch my handiwork get smashed by people who thought my property was just a shortcut. That night, standing out there with a flashlight, listening to the creek, I got that feeling. You know, the one you get before everything goes sideways. Some people just don't get boundaries until you draw them in red. Sure enough, next few nights, ping, ping, ping. 12,000 pounds. 17. 22. By the end of the week, my phone looked like Christmas in Vegas. I checked the camera, clear as day. There's a white flatbed with R&B development on the side, bouncing over my planks and barreling right into HOA territory. Not even trying to hide it. I wasn't mad yet, just insulted. There's a special place in hell for folks who look you in the eye, nod, and then do the opposite. I wrote a formal cease and desist, slapped the photos on, hand-delivered it to their office. The secretary took it like it was radioactive, promised Karen would get it. Yeah, right. No response for 2 days. But then, fresh mud streaks, another ping, 30,000 pounds. Whoever was driving didn't even slow down. Friday, I'd had it. I parked my old John Deere at the bridge entrance, chained the wheel. My way of saying, try me. That night, poured myself a bourbon and watched the feed. Just after 2 a.m., overload alert, 37,000 pounds. Structural integrity compromised. My heart jumped. There it was, same R&B truck, massive concrete panels loaded up, headlights slicing through the mist. They crept forward, real slow, like a thief sneaking home. As the front axle hit the midpoint, the sensor bar flashed red. Then, a sharp groan, the right side split with a crack like a rifle. The truck lurched, fishtailed, and then, bam, half the thing dropped into the river. The metal screamed, then silence. I stared at the blank feed, not moving, adrenaline surging. Grabbed my keys, ran down to the river. The driver was already wading in, staring at what used to be a truck, now twisted like a soda can. Concrete panels floated off downstream. The bridge? Wrecked. Planks gone. Support snapped. Main beam like a pretzel. The driver, wide-eyed, yelled, "What the hell kind of death trap is that bridge?" I just pointed at the sign. Private access. No commercial vehicles. He didn't answer, just sloshed out of the water, muttering about calling his boss. There was nothing left to say. At sunrise, I recorded everything. Photos, video, logs. By the time the sheriff's deputy arrived, the story had already flipped. The driver claimed I hadn't blocked the bridge properly, said it was a community access route. The deputy scribbled notes while I stood there, already knowing how this would go. No apology, just a lawsuit. Next morning, thick envelope lands in my mailbox. River Pine Bluffs HOA versus Jordan Emery. No knock, just a process server tossing it over like expired milk. 12 pages. Negligence, reckless endangerment, sabotage of a shared-use structure. They wanted $750,000. I sat there, rereading, making sure I wasn't hallucinating. According to them, my failure to secure and maintain the bridge caused the accident. Not their trespass, not the overloaded truck, not the fact I'd told them no in writing. My bridge, my fault. Photos attached, cropped so you couldn't see the sign or the tractor, like I just invited trucks to treat it like a freeway. They were rewriting the story. I called my lawyer, Connor, a straight-shooter ex-Marine. Sent him the docs. 10 minutes later, he calls back cussing up a storm. They're bluffing, but it's a hell of a bluff, he says. They're banking on me folding, especially with their so-called historic access agreement. A page from 2004, no stamp, no code, just a scribbled signature. Didn't even match the last owner, who I bought from direct. Total forgery. Connor said, "We'll kill that in discovery, but I need everything. Photos, logs, emails." So I got to work. Camera footage, sensor graphs, emails where the HOA admitted I denied them access. Even a passive-aggressive reply from Karen. "We'll find a way forward one way or another." Cute. But they weren't done. By afternoon, neighbor Dennis shows up, sheepish, with a flyer. Community under attack. Local property owner blocks vital infrastructure. There's my destroyed bridge, a quote from Karen, and a petition. Already 200 signatures, half just usernames. They were waging war in public, lying, forging, spinning, trying to make me the villain before we even got to court. But if they wanted a fight, well, they were about to find out what happens when you try to bulldoze an engineer. I dug into their historic agreement. Signature didn't match any on file. Connor double-checked, but just to be sure, I took it to a forensic analyst. Retired FBI, crusty but sharp. Ink was from 2012, document dated 2004. Like being mugged with a banana. I collected everything. Sensor logs, video of each violation, drone footage showing trucks making turns onto my land. Even dug up the insurance policy. Arambee's commercial transport had lapsed 3 days before the crash. That truck was uninsured, cargo wasn't covered, liability all on them. We countersued, $420,000 for damages, plus punitive charges. Karen didn't roll over. Their petition showed up on Facebook, with sob stories and stock photos. But I tracked the signatures, 70% from 3 IP addresses, 2 at the HOA's clubhouse and Karen's house, rest were bots. I printed every fake name and IP, handed it to Connor, who looked at me like, "You sure you weren't intel?" We filed it all with the court. Hearing day felt like the calm before a blast. I walked in, Connor ready, Karen sitting up front like she owned the place. HOA's lawyers had the look, slick, smug, too polished for real work. Judge walks in, sighs when he sees the stack of paperwork. HOA's lawyer opens with a monologue that makes me a rogue landowner, an obstructionist. They pull out their forged agreement, crop photos, fake petitions. I recognized half the signatures as bots. Then Connor stands up, plays the full video. R&B truck crushing the bridge and splashing into the river. Sensor logs, emails, drone footage, forensic report on the ink. Judge's eyes narrowed, air sucked out of the HOA side. Connor presents evidence of the digital campaign. Fake signatures, bot traffic, a dead resident, and an online dating profile on the petition. Even the judge snorted at that. When Karen tried to talk, the judge cut her off. "This is concerning," he said. "We'll move to discovery and issue a protective order. No more use of Mr. Emery's property by the HOA." Outside, Karen hissed. "You really think this is over?" I just smiled. "No, I think this is your beginning." We'd turned their first move into their last stand. After that, things changed. R&B withdrew. A new contractor tried the same trick, this time polite, with liability waivers. We rejected them. Then the HOA got subtle. County inspectors showed up, anonymous tips, zoning checks, environmental audits. Karen's fingerprints, clear as day. But I had every permit, every record, 3 years of drone footage proving I was in the right. Pressure mounted, legal process dragging, public opinion shifting, but I wasn't about to back down. I built a website, shared real neighbor stories, no bots, no fake moms, just truth. Anonymous HOA members even sent me emails admitting the petition was lightly curated for optics. The final nail, county registrar confirmed their access agreement, was a forgery. The document number belonged to a septic tank permit for land miles away. Connor filed for sanctions, fraud upon the court. That's when the phone rang. A board member, not Karen, called to discuss a settlement. I told him we'd talk after the judge ruled, not before. Let them sweat. When the court ruling came, it was brutal. HOA's claim dismissed, counterclaim upheld, damages awarded to me, contractor fined, HOA's expansion blocked for 18 months, and Karen referred for potential criminal prosecution. I rebuilt the bridge, this time stronger than ever. New sign at the entrance. Trespassers will be sued and billed. Ask HOA what happened last time. You'd think that'd be the end. But 2 months later, I get a postcard. No return address, just a drawing of a goat in a hard hat and a note. That was one hell of a bridge collapse. I laughed harder than I had in months. So, tell me, what would you have done? Ever had your own run-in with an HOA or someone who tried to rewrite the rules on your land? Drop your stories below. Is there such a thing as real justice? Or is it all about who's got the better paper trail? Don't forget to weigh in. Your take might just be what helps the next guy stand his ground.